I have something completely different for you, and I hope you appreciate the variety that I'm bringing. And no, I'm not building some more rip-off Legos or talking about some weird toys. I have a book review tonight. More specifically, audiobook, while I'm exercising, while I'm riding my bike, things like that. Put the old earbuds in and I can listen to an audiobook, and I've been doing a lot of that lately. I'm a huge Stephen King fan, and I've been so, even before I was allowed to read Stephen King in my parents' house. So probably around 13, 14 years old, I started sneaking in the Stephen King books. So, for the better part of like 25 years, I've been a fan. I haven't been so impressed by like his, post-rehab stuff, where he's become sober and has been writing these books, because I think the one that really just threw me was The Girl That Loved Tom Jones. I read that, probably 10 years ago, even more, probably more than that. And it was just, it was really bad. I didn't like it at all, and just sort of got out of this whole modern era of Stephen King. But another book came out called Mr. Mercedes, and it piqued my interest because it wasn't a horror book. It's not a horror book at all. It's a detective sort of thriller thing, and got a lot of good reviews. So I decided, I have an Audible subscription, decided to pick up Mr. Mercedes. I'm like, Stephen King, you got one more chance, man. And this is with Mr. Mercedes. And so just to have something visual, usually I show you things. I want to show you Mr. Mercedes here. And this is being blown out here because my settings are really crazy. But I didn't buy the book. Like I said, I did the audiobook thing, so I decided I was going to do my whole own cover here on another hardback book that I'm not going to tell you what it is. But I hope you like it. I'm not sure you can see all the detail and TLC that I put into drawing this cover, but it is very accurate, although very childish. Mr. Mercedes, let me give you the official synopsis from StephenKing.com. In the gloomy, pre-dawn hours of a distressed Midwestern city, hundreds of unemployed hopefuls are lined up for a job fair. Without warning, a merciless driver plows through the crowd in a roaring Mercedes. 8 people are killed, 15 are wounded. The killer escapes into the early spring fog, never to be seen from again. Until now. Detective Bill Hodges is a battle-hardened and streetwise crime fighter, originally assigned to the Mercedes killings. Now retired, Hodges has lost his way in boredom and depression, craving the thrills of taking down the region's most notorious criminals. When a disturbing letter from the Mercedes killer arrives at his door, Hodges soon finds himself uncontrollably drawn into a cat-and-mouse pursuit with stakes beyond comprehension. Mr. Mercedes is Stephen King's first hard-boiled detective tale. It will transport you into a vibrant and dangerous world filled with gritty characters living on the bleeding edge of reason. I love these synopses. They're so dramatic. And, I mean, that's pretty accurate. This is a detective thriller. Like I said, the first, non-horror Stephen King thing that I've read, other than his excellent nonfiction book called On Writing. Brilliant. If you have an interest in writing, or you are a writer at all, you need to read Stephen King's book On Writing. It's great. But that sort of doesn't count. Brilliant reading by Will Patton. He sounds like different people in each chapter. When he's reading from Bill Hodges' point of view, he's one way. When he's reading from the Mercedes killer, this Brady guy, it's another way, and he utilizes his voice acting talent so well, and it just keeps you engaged, and it keeps you grounded, and it brought, I think, so much more to the book for me than if I was actually reading the printed page. I would have been reading these words and not necessarily reading them and interpreting them in the way that Will does. And so I think this audiobook was really, really great, and why I'm so into audiobooks right now. It's almost like watching TV, It's like I don't really have to do so much work. But still, the whole imagination thing is there. It's not like TV, actually, at all. because TV is far dumber than audiobooks. But it does ease the process, and it does a lot of the work for you, although your imagination is still stimulated quite a bit. It's sort of formulaic to an extent. Retired cop, sort of tormented by this killer that he never quite caught, and this whole group of people that come together to sort of save the day that you wouldn't expect to. But Stephen King does this in such a way that he makes it really interesting, really relevant, and he changes up the old sort of detective spiel and does it really well. And he has such a great, fluid way of writing. I was making excuses to go out and listen to this book. It's just, I can't say it was a page turner for me because there were no pages. I thought it was good, and then I come to the ending, and I'm like, wow, he's left this totally open to a sequel. He's got to have a sequel. And this is when I actually start reading into this more in depth online, and Mr. Mercedes, and I'm probably like one of the last people to find out about this, but this is part one of a trilogy, which just tickles me pink. I can't wait. I actually really, really like Mr. Mercedes, and I can't wait to see where it goes next. If I have to give this a rating, I'll give it a 4.3 out of 5. It's not perfect, it's not Salem's Lot, but this is really, really darn good. And if you're a fan of Stephen King or a fan of detective stories or anything like that, you're gonna dig it. So again, I was pleasantly surprised for a modern Stephen King book. It was really, really great. So if you see this on the bookshelves, pick it up.